All right, let's talk about this AI gold rush, right? Because that's what we're living through right now. It's like every single day there's a new AI tool that's going to be in charge of the world, writing your emails, creating incredible art, or maybe, take all of our jobs, The hype for this is really off the charts, and just like the gold rush during the 1800s, you have a handful of massive, powerful people. Think of them like the railroad people that built the railroads. They're trying to right now control everything. Today, these, let's call them barons, are like they're Microsoft, they're Google, Meta, and Amazon. There's more in all the other countries as well. Uh, they are all in an all-out AI war for supremacy right now, and they truly believe that this is a once in a generational opportunity uh, to just take for their own, so that they can own the future for all of us. And just like any gold rush, the most valuable thing isn't the gold itself; it's the people who know how to find it. In this case, the super genius AI researchers and founders, it's those people. They're the ones who understand how to make AI work. So big tech is very desperate. They're very desperate to hoard all these brilliant ideas and all these minds to invent a new and you know kind of shady way to do it. It's a tactic that's less of them poaching the smartest people to win the AI race. So and leave everyone else just in the dust. By the way, like they're dusting everybody. If I tried to start something, I'm sure that that idea is going to get adopted by some other company that is just going to hire 10 people to maximize in that thought process of whatever AI app I would think of. And in doing so, they might be breaking the entire system that made Silicon Valley the capital of tech, for the world. So they might be killing their own little golden goose. Yeah. So uh, before we get too sneaky to this new sneaky tactic, we have to talk about how things are supposed to work, right? We have to talk about the Silicon Valley dream, the story, right? It's been the plot of dozens of movies. You know, you a brilliant, ambitious person, right? You join a small, scrappy startup, and you and a handful of other believers cram into a tiny office. You work these insane hours, you live off cheap pizza and lukewarm coffee, and you get paid mostly in stock options. Now, let's talk about stock options, right? Or equity. This is the absolute key to the whole dream. You know, the company can't afford to pay you a huge Google level salary. So instead, they give their employees certain ownerships, little pieces of the paper that are basically lottery tickets. You're just an employee, you know. So, you're a part owner, builder. The dream is that if you start up these the dream is that if your startup creates something amazing, it ends up getting bought by a giant company, these lottery tickets are just cash ins. They're big scores. They're really nice for the people working there when they get out. So think about when Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion, right? Instagram only 13 employees at that time. Uh, they all became fantastically wealthy, like overnight, just like that. Or when Google bought YouTube, you know, or even when Facebook bought WhatsApp, they bought WhatsApp, right? And in these classic deals, right, everyone who took that risk from the founders down, and that those first engineers and the first marketing hire shared, you know, a huge reward for being part of that team. That's the bargain. That's the deal. Take a huge risk for a huge chance of a once in a lifetime payday. It's the engine, you know. It's the engine that just been powering Silicon Valley for the past 50 years. You know, but that engine is starting to sputter a little bit. Big tech just found a way to rewrite the deal, you know. So it's getting pretty wild. All right, so what is this new playbook, right? It's called a reverse acquihire. You know, I'll put the definition right here, and it's as sneaky as it sounds. Like, let's stick with our with a basketball analogy, right? Imagine a pro team, right? Let's say the Lakers wants the star player from a smaller team in a normal acquisition, right? The Lakers would have to trade for the whole team or at least negotiate a massive, complicated deal for that player. But if they could just walk up to a star player and their coach and write them a personal check for an insane amount of money and just have them and walk away from their old team and show up for a practice at the Lakers gym the next day, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on right now. You know, the rest of the smaller team is just left standing on the court with no star, no coach, and no future. The team is now just a husk, right? That's a reverse acquire. Hope that was a good analogy for you guys. Thought about that. Cool minute. So big tech is going to these hot AI startups, but instead of buying the whole company, they are just poaching the star players. They'll make a deal to hire right away the brilliant founder, the CEO, and a handful of the top AI researchers, right? You know, to make it look kind of legit, they might pay the leftover husk of the company a massive licensing fee for their technology. Think of it like this. Instead of buying your favorite pizza place, you just pay the owner a huge sum of money for their secret sauce recipe and you hire their best pizza chef, right? You get the most valuable parts, but you don't have to deal with the building lease, the other staff, or the health inspector. You know, this isn't a hypothetical, right? What I'm talking about. It's happening right now with billions of dollars, like way over my pay grade, over what I even had, but it's happening right now. And Microsoft did this with a company called Infection AI. You know, they bought its CEO, um, Mufasta Suleiman. He was an in-house person that ran the whole AI division. They hired away most of the top minds and paid the leftover company about $700 million, you know, for the licensing fee, the husk, right? And you know, Meta did a version of this with a company called Scale AI, making a colossal 14.8 billion investment. That was like basically in exchange for its CEO and its key team. Now, why are they doing this? Three reasons. It's fast, it's simple, and it's the most important part, and it's stealthy, right? It lets them get the talent they want without needing regulatory approval from the government, which is watching them like a hawk for any hint of anti-competitive behavior. It's a backdoor deal. It's illegal, but it's a backdoor deal, you know. So the the so the founders and the superstar researchers get pretty much pro athlete level paydays. Big tech gets the brains they need to win the AI war. Everybody wins, right? Absolutely not. It's not what's happening. Who gets completely and totally screwed in this deal? Everyone else. It's pretty wild. You know, a startup isn't just one or two geniuses in a garage. It takes a village. You need the engineers who spends thousands of hours debugging the code. You need the sales team that grinds to land the first big customer. You need the marketing people who build the brand from nothing. You need the HR person who builds the company culture. um all those people are the rank and file, and all of them bought into the dream. They took the risk, they accepted the lower salary in exchange for those stock options. um yeah, so it's pretty big risk, and in a reverse acquire, those lottery tickets are suddenly ripped up in their faces. It's pretty bad. So let me tell you this heartbreaking story about windsurf, right? They were on a 1 yard line. They were about to live the dream. The famous AI company OpenAI was in serious talks to buy them for 3 billion. Uh, that was a standard classic acquisition. Everything was legal, and everyone was about to get a lifetime, once in a lifetime payday. And then last minute, Google swooped in, but Google didn't buy the company. They structured a different deal. You know, they structured a different deal, a 2.4 billion reversal acquire, and they got the founders and the tech they wanted, and the rest of the company was left in the lurch. Yeah, a lot of the people that was working in that office, they found out by reading the news online. And they found out and literally cried in their office. All that money gone that they invest into where they work. And that dream payday was gone. Just vanished, poof, gone. And that's this is where the entire system starts to kind of like break down. This is what executives calls the loss of trust. If you're a talented person and you see this happen, the Silicon Valley bargain doesn't look so good anymore. So imagine you're a brilliant person, a brilliant software engineer, and you have two job offers, right? One from Google and with a fat salary, great benefits, job security, and the other is a risky AI startup. The startup founder tells you, we can't pay you as much as Google, but if we succeed, your stock options will make you a millionaire. And after seeing what happened to those folks at Windsurf, which offer would you take? I mean, it's not a hard choice anymore, is it? The dream is starting to look more like a scam. You know, develop your own AI, get bought by someone else, or be really successful, all just to be have a reverse acquire done to you, your company. All those stocks options just vanish, disappear. So here's the craziest, uh, most ironic part of it all. By using these short sign ruthless tactics, big tech is actually hurting itself in the long run. These giant companies, they need a healthy, thriving ecosystem of innovative startups. For decades, that has been their secret weapon. They let thousands of small, scrappy startups take all the risk and do all the messy early stage innovation. Then they use their mountains of cash to just swoop in and buy the winners. It's pretty bad. It happens in a lot of other uh, avenues of business as well, but this is pretty serious. A lot of people are coming out of school with these computer science degrees, and they're hoping to get these jobs, and they get these jobs, and then it just goes all downhill after Google develops their own version of it for pretty much free. So think about people's greatest successes, right? So think about like Android. That operating system is on billions of phones, right? That was a tiny startup bought by Google for only 50 million. I know that sounds like a lot, but compared to what's happening in today's world, it's a little amount. It's arguably, but it's still one of the best acquisitions that happened in history. Let's take another one. The powerful custom chips that run Amazon's their cloud service. Those came from another startup called Annapurna in Labs. Yeah, I put it in the bio. You know, it's like being a world famous chef who loves cooking with rare exotic mushrooms. But instead of carefully cultivating the forest where they grow, you just strip mine the whole area to get all the mushrooms you can today, ensuring none will ever grow back. It's pretty bad. That's exactly what's happening. Big tech needs a forest of healthy startups to pick up from the next big thing, putting their frenzy to win that AI race right now. But right now they're chopping down that entire forest. They're poisoning the well. They're killing the very ecosystem that fed them for decades. And if all the new ideas and talent just got hoarded by 4 or 5 giant companies, what does that mean for us? Less competition, a few cooler products, and a much more boring future, pretty much. So my main takeaway, the main takeaway for this for you guys, so in the mad dash of this AI gold rush, big tech invented a new playbook, the reverse acquire. It gets them those star players they need right now. It's a clever dodging of the regulators, but it breaks down that fundamental uh process of Silicon Valley that's generated billions of dollars for everyday people. You know, they've started to erode that trust, and it could ultimately backfire, leaving tech giants with no one to acquire in the future. It's a classic case of winning the battle, but it's particularly losing the war. Yeah. So I want to hear what you guys think about this. Uh, is this just a genius or a ruthless move by big tech to win at all costs, or are they incredibly short-sighted and destroying the culture that made them great? Um, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and as always, just hit that like and subscribe button if you're liking these videos. It shows me that I'm doing something I should be doing. I see you in the next one.